I'm Annette, 35, standing in the snow outside my childhood home, with a duffel bag at my feet and the door slamming behind me. I couldn't believe what had just happened. It was Christmas night, and my father had thrown me out, telling me not to come back. I broke down in tears as my boyfriend, Ethan, put his arm around me and led me to his car. Growing up in a small town in Ohio, my family was all I knew. My father, Henry, was a strict and controlling man who built a successful manufacturing business from scratch. He was used to getting his way and expected everyone in the family to follow his rules. My mother, Linda, was a kind and gentle woman who always tried to keep the peace. She was more concerned with maintaining the family's image than standing up for what was right. My younger sister, Lily, 2 years my junior, was the apple of my father's eye. She was beautiful, talented, and had a bright future ahead of her. I was the responsible one in the family. I was good with numbers and helped my father with the finances of his business from a young age. I put my own dreams of becoming a fashion designer on hold to support my family. After college, I took a job in accounting and moved back home to save money. I thought it was only temporary, but 5 years turned into 10, and I found myself still living at home and working for my father's business. I never realized how much my family was taking advantage of me until I met Ethan. He was a kind and caring man who saw the potential in me that I had long since forgotten. He encouraged me to pursue my dreams and to stand up for myself. As our relationship grew stronger, I began to question the way my family treated me. Why was I working long hours for little pay? Why was my name on all the bills? Why was I always the one who had to make sacrifices? My father didn't like Ethan from the start. He saw him as a threat to his control over me. Every time I tried to assert my independence, my father would find a way to pull me back in. There was always a family emergency that needed my attention, or a project at work that couldn't wait. Ethan watched with growing concern, but he supported me as I tried to break free from my family's grasp. The tension between my family and me reached a boiling point one summer when we took a family vacation to Hawaii. I used my credit card to pay for the trip, as I always did. For a week, I endured my father's criticism and my sister's demands. When I suggested that we do something that I wanted to do, my father snapped at me and told me to stop being selfish. I was so angry that I finally stood up for myself and told him that I was tired of being taken for granted. My father was furious. He told me that I was ungrateful and that I didn't deserve to be a part of the family. He said that I was ruining the vacation and that I should go home. I was shocked and hurt, but I refused to back down. I told him that I was done being his doormat and that I was going to live my own life. After that trip, I started keeping track of all the money I had spent on my family over the years. The numbers were staggering. I had contributed thousands of dollars to their lifestyle, and they had never once thanked me. I realized that I had been enabling their behavior by always being there to bail them out. Thanksgiving was another difficult time. I invited Ethan to join us for dinner, but my father refused to let him come. He said that it was a family-only event and that Ethan wasn't welcome. I was heartbroken, but I didn't want to cause another scene. I went to dinner alone and sat through a tense meal, listening to my father and sister talk about their plans for the future. Later that night, I overheard my father talking to my mother about me. He said that I was going through a phase and that I would eventually come to my senses. He said that I was too weak to make it on my own and that I would always need the family. I was devastated. I realized that my father didn't see me as a person, but as an extension of his business. That's when I decided that I had had enough. I started looking for a new job and an apartment of my own. I knew that it wouldn't be easy, but I was determined to break free from my family's control. I also started talking to a therapist who helped me to see that my family's behavior was not normal and that I deserved to be treated with respect. As Christmas approached, I decided that I was going to spend the holiday with Ethan. I told my parents that I wouldn't be coming home, and they were furious. My father called me and told me that I was making a big mistake and that I would regret it. He said that I was betraying the family and that I would never be forgiven. I didn't listen to him. I knew that I was doing the right thing. I spent Christmas Eve with Ethan, and it was the happiest I had been in a long time. We exchanged gifts and had a delicious dinner. I felt free and alive for the first time in years. But then, on Christmas Day, everything fell apart. My father called me and told me that he needed my help with a business emergency. He said that it was urgent and that I had to come home right away. I was hesitant, but I couldn't ignore his plea. I told Ethan that I had to go, and he reluctantly agreed to drive me to my parents' house. When we arrived, my father was waiting for us at the door. He was angry and aggressive. He told me that he had changed his mind about me and that he didn't want me to be a part of the family anymore. He said that I was a disappointment and that I had let him down. He then pointed at Ethan and told him to leave. I was shocked and hurt. I couldn't believe what my father was saying. I tried to reason with him, but he wouldn't listen. He told me that I had to choose between him and Ethan. I looked at Ethan, and I knew what I had to do. I told my father that I chose Ethan. I said that I loved him and that I was going to be with him. My father's face turned red with anger. He grabbed a duffel bag from the closet and threw it at my feet. He told me to take my things and leave. He said that I was no longer welcome in his house. I was too stunned to move. I just stood there, looking at him in disbelief. Ethan put his arm around me and led me to the car. As we drove away, I couldn't stop crying. I felt like my whole world had been turned upside down. I didn't know what I was going to do, or where I was going to go. But as the days passed, I began to realize that this was a new beginning. I had finally found the courage to stand up for myself and to break free from my family's control. I started my new job and moved into my new apartment. I also continued to see my therapist, who helped me to heal from the emotional wounds that my family had inflicted on me. Over the next few months, I methodically removed myself from all the financial obligations that I had to my family. I closed all the joint accounts and canceled all the services that were in my name. I also changed my phone number and blocked my father's calls and texts. It was a difficult and painful process, but it was necessary for my own well-being. My family was furious when they realized what I had done. They tried to contact me, but I refused to answer their calls. My father sent me threatening messages, telling me that I was making a big mistake and that I would regret it. My mother called me and begged me to come back, but I told her that I couldn't. I said that I needed time and space to heal. As the months turned into a year, I began to see the positive effects of my decision. I was happier and more fulfilled than I had ever been. I was doing what I loved for a living, and I was surrounded by people who loved and supported me. I also started volunteering at a local women's shelter, where I helped other women who were going through similar situations. One day, I received a call from my aunt, Sarah. She was my mother's sister and had always been the peacemaker in the family. She told me that my parents had sold the house and moved into a smaller apartment. She said that my father's business was struggling and that he had had to lay off most of his employees. She also said that my sister was having a hard time finding a job and was living at home. I was shocked by the news. I had never wished any harm on my family, but I couldn't help but feel a sense of vindication. I realized that my actions had had a profound impact on their lives. They had finally been forced to face the consequences of their behavior. A few weeks later, my aunt called me again and asked me if I would be willing to meet with my parents. She said that they wanted to apologize and to try to make amends. I was hesitant at first, but I decided that I was ready to hear what they had to say. We met at a neutral location, a coffee shop in the middle of town. When I walked in, I saw my parents sitting at a table in the corner. They looked older and more tired than I remembered. My father stood up and hugged me, and I could see the tears in his eyes. He told me that he was sorry for the way he had treated me and that he had been wrong. He said that he loved me and that he wanted me to be a part of the family again. My mother also apologized. She said that she should have stood up for me and that she was sorry for not being a better mother. She said that she had been afraid of my father and that she had let him control her. I listened to their apologies, and I could tell that they were sincere. I forgave them, but I told them that things would have to be different. I said that I needed boundaries and that I wouldn't tolerate any more abuse or manipulation. They agreed, and we spent the next few hours talking and catching up. Since then, my relationship with my family has been slowly improving. We still have our ups and downs, but we are learning to communicate and to respect each other's boundaries. My father has become more humble and less controlling, and my mother has become more assertive and independent. My sister has also changed. She has started working hard and has developed a newfound respect for me. As for me, I have learned a valuable lesson about the importance of standing up for myself and of setting boundaries. I have also learned that true family is not about blood, but about love and support. I am grateful for the experience because it has made me a stronger and more resilient person. 1 year after that fateful Christmas night, I am living a happy and fulfilling life. I am married to Ethan, and we have a beautiful daughter. We live in a small house in the suburbs, and we are surrounded by friends and family who love and support us. I have also started my own fashion design business, and it is doing very well. Looking back on that night, I realized that it was the best thing that could have happened to me. It was a wake-up call that forced me to take control of my life and to pursue my dreams. I am grateful for the pain and the suffering because it has made me who I am today.